Hey everybody, welcome back to another exciting episode of Stash Report from Stash Project. It is April 12th, 2021. We have a few kit announcements for this week, as well as, of course, kit releases. Kit announcements this week are going to be the what was just nominally called the June and July releases from Hasegawa, but basically this is going to be the things that would be shown and will be shown at the Shizuku Hobby Show this year. Now, again, this year the Shizuku Hobby Show is only a 2-day event. It is only the what do they call vendor days, where it's all industry people. There is no general public attendance this year. It is good to see it actually back as sort of a physical thing, although I still don't know exactly how big that will end up being in terms of like square footage and things like that. But yeah, at least it's a concrete thing this year as opposed to just being a virtual show like it was last year. But these would basically be the things again that would be and will be shown. I assume that they are going to actually have a display and set the stuff up. So this is again, like I said, a June and July type of deal here. So in June, one thing that's just a straight reissue is the 1966 Cadillac with Resin Girl figure. So yes, that one is going to get another run back out. And then starting on the new stuff, and most of this is not actually new. There are no completely and totally new automotive tools from the Shizuka show. There is a new motorcycle tool, which I will flash up here at the end of all of this, just to sort of put it out there, being that it is the new, not a military tool. For any motorcycle guys who happen to follow along here, build that stuff off to the side. Shh, we don't talk about it here. Kind of thing. I'll just throw it up there for you, but don't expect us to start covering 1/12 bikes. I don't know enough about that in one-to-one or in modeling to make it part of the show. But anyway, so you're gonna get a reissue of the Subaru 360 Young SS. Now the 360 is the little Subaru. It wants to be a Beetle, but we can't call it a Beetle car. It's almost the same shape and the same size and all that stuff. Rear engine, air cooled, all that nonsense. And the Young SS is the sort of sporty version of it. A regular kit of the Young SS does exist, but this one is going to come with, yes, you guessed it, a Resin Girl figure, Brian. So that's going to be coming out. They're going to reissue the BMW 2002 TII Rally spec, and this is going to be for the 1975 Monte Carlo Rally. The 10th place finishing cars, the Radio Monte Carlo livery. I only say that because people who are familiar with like vintage rally know that there's a Studio 27 decal set for that specific car. It's kind of interesting to see them do it as their own decal set. It is a decal set that I've always thought was kind of cool for the 2002, but it was one of those things like I don't have a spare one. I don't want to go buy another one and oh well, hey, look, you're going to release it. Okay, fine, I'll take it then. Then we get a reissue of the Honda N360 N1 in its racing format. This is being called Racing Part 2. There are no new parts to this. They did show in like the literature like CAD drawing and stuff like that, but there's nothing about the parts that are coming in this that are any different than what was known as Racing Part 1, which was a bunch of new parts added to the civilian N360. It did have like the addition of roll cages and wheels and all sorts of stuff like that. All of those parts are just carrying over. They're not new, and there's just going to be a new set of decals. The M360 was never commercially raced. Well, I'm using a lot of air quotes today, but never commercially raced, but they were privateered a lot. The M360 was one of those sort of, like geez, I'm trying to think of anything. Going back into the 1960s, a lot of U.S. cars were, privateer raced in various sort of SCCA type of events. Nothing currently really. I mean, there's autocross. It's that kind of thing, sort of home brew racing more than it is actual Japanese Grand Prix or some like designated single make racing series. So it's more of a homemade, run what you're running in a parking lot kind of racing type of setup. And so this is, like I said, just a new set of decals on that idea that'll be molded in red. Then you're going to get a review of the Mitsubishi Colt Galant, which, of course, has, I don't know, 4 or 5 different versions, including resin chin spoilers and stuff like that. This is going to be the GTO M2. So the Mitsubishi Colt Galant came in like 3 versions, M1, M2, and MR. And the ones that they have done currently are the 2000 like MRs and the 2000 GSRs, which the GSRs technically I guess the top trim level above the 3 standard ones. The M2 is a 1600cc engine compared to the 2000cc engine that is in the top of the line ones they've molded. Now there won't be any new parts to this kit. All of the designation to 1600cc will be done with decals. It specifically comes with a set of blue racing stripes that I guess are specific to a 1970 M2. So, it's just a new set of decals, and Hasegawa has, bam, made you a new model kit. Then you're going to get a reissue of the Lamborghini Miura P400 SV with the detail set. That's the one with all of the PE included with it for the 28-piece front grills and all that stuff. This is just going to be molded in yellow. I don't know why that really qualifies as being a new thing, but I guess because molded in yellow is different than the normal molded in white version that detail set comes up with. It's technically a new stock number, so there's that. And then you're going to get a reissue of their sort of newer tool Toyota Corolla 11 AE92 race car. This is going to have the Minolta livery from 1988. If that sounds vaguely familiar, it's because that's the way that B-Max's, new now, but B-Max's AE92 Corolla 11 came when it was released back in I think it was 2017 when that kit came out. I sort of looked at that at first and went, oh, why would you do that? Why are we in this weird competition with Nunu over liveries? Because you remember the Lancer, same kit thing. But what are the chances that kit's ever going to get released again? I've only seen a couple of the B-Max kits get released straight up the way they came in the B-Max thing with a Nunu Platts branding to it. So, yeah, probably won't ever come back. So this is, hey, it's a good opportunity for Hasegawa. If you didn't happen to get one of those, hey, look, ta-da, you can get one through Hasegawa now. So it makes sense for a set of decals, whatnot. And then lastly, for June, you're going to get a reissue of their R32 GTR in its race trim, which makes sense because we just got a we're getting a civilian version of that this month. And that is going to be the Axia livery object team. That is the same kit that Tamiya did back in the day. It's the silver car with the big blotchy, crazy colored graphics package. And this is, again, one of these things where, like, is Tamiya ever going to reissue that? I mean, Tamiya did silently reissue the HKS and the Calsonic versions this spring. You had to go to the Tamiya USA store on, like, the right day of the week and know the secret knock to be able to order those. But because they're not being distributed widely, at least not that I've seen. And, there's, like, okay, great. But the two I think that most people would want, or at least the one that most people would want, was that Axia one, because it has a specific set of wheels to it that aren't in the other Tamiya GTRs, and then it has that set of crazy decals, which of course Tamiya decals, sometimes, and they're now at this point they'd be 25 years old, so they're probably not going to stand up very well. They'll be faded and everything else. So they're going to take the a page out of the playbook of other companies there and steal one out from underneath Tamiya and run it with that set of livery in it. It also is going to have a new front grille setup that is partially taken from the new front bumper that is coming in the civilian 1989 car that we're going to get this month, as well as having, of course, those very prominent set of flush mesh wheels that came in specifically that team's car. So that wraps up June. We go over to the releases for July. So you're going to get a reissue of the Mazda Cosmo with a Resin Chin spoiler. Haha, you thought I was leaning in for a girl. I fooled you. This looks like basically one of those big pusher plow things. It's not a snow plow, but guys up here in snow country will know those things. It's not a snow shovel. It's a bigger blade than a snow shovel, both in depth and width, but it's mounted to like a big handle, almost like a lawnmower handle, and has wheels on it, and you plow your driveway with that. It's for people, I guess, who want a snowblower but are too cheap to buy the engine. It looks like one of those, mounted to the bottom of a Mazda Cosmos. It takes the ground clearance of a Mazda Cosmos from like a foot to maybe 3 inches. If you were going to go into a pitched driveway, go over a parking lot bump that's more than like just a small undulation, you would plow the parking lot with it. It looks ridiculous, personally, my humble opinion, because there's no additional ground effects. It's just this big thing dropped off the front of the car. But hey, the chin splotch is selling, obviously, because they keep doing them. So, yay, another one. They're going to reissue their Williams FW14. This is a 124 scale F1 car, and they're going to be doing the full metal detail version. So this is going to come with a whole plethora of white metal parts to do the engine and the radiators and all of that type of things, the induction and the exhaust and all of that. And then there's going to be a bunch of PE in it as well for all of the rest of the things you could, obviously do more with a PE type of deal. Last time that was reissued in that fashion was in the late 19, well, I should say early 1990s. I don't have a specific year on that, but 1990 to 1994 was sort of the area where all the full metal detail kits were done in the past, and this has never been reissued since then. So it's somewhere in that window of the very early 1990s. Again, it's another $90-ish kit from having all that extra PE and white metal thrown in, but for people who want like a full detail 124 scale F1 car, that's an option, I guess. They're going to reissue their Lancia 037 rally car. This is going to be done for the 1985 European Rally Championship Costa Brava Rally. I'm pretty sure something else is a Costa Brava Rally they've done with these reissues of their kits recently. I'm trying to see if I see it as I look around here. Something was done as a Costa Brava. I can't think of which one it was. But at any rate, the kit should just be the same. Finished third place in the rally. Now, the interesting thing to see about this is it is very much a Rothmans livery, white over the dark blue with Rothmans logos and Rothmans wording. The box art photo has all of that photoshopped off. But as we've seen with a few things here recently, they're willing to throw the words in there if they split them up, turn them upside down, and all sorts of other things like that. So it should be very interesting to see what approach Hasegawa takes to this, a very much a tobacco car, way more than the JPS Jaguar, which is a few letters, and you sort of have to be from a time where you recognize that's a tobacco company. Rothmans, yeah, that's still that's as far as I know, they still exist. They're not a U.S. based. Well, they never were really a U.S. based tobacco company, but yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what you get with that. I'm sure somebody will conjure up a fill-in set of decals if they don't actually do the real ones. They're also going to reissue the Mitsubishi Galant rally car, and this is going to be for the 1992 European Rally Championship champion. So, yeah, another Galant, new set of decals, and it is, again, the series champion. I'm guessing we've run out of World Rally Championship things we can do, because now we're plumbing the European Rally Championships, which is kind of funny, because they have a few various kits that they have done, both in ERC, that they have not reissued, as well as the Asia Pacific Rally Championship. Kits they've done in the past, liveries that they should theoretically still have, files for, that they have not reissued either. And I wonder if the APRC is a matter of licensing, because they did reissue that one ARPC Lancer, but they haven't reissued a good chunk of them yet. So anyway, it's another set of decals. And then a kit that I think a lot of us JTCC fans, or that being me, because I don't know how many of us there are, we're getting the Bayou Toyota Supra A70 from the 1989 JTCC season. This is the last of the Japanese raced Supras. So you have the Minolta car from the Tamiya kit, the Minolta car that Hasegawa did, and then this is the last of the 3 seasons that it ran. I think it might have podiumed once or twice in there with the other team that sort of silently runs in the background of all of the box art cars that all the companies have done. But it did not win any races, and if it didn't podium, it was not a good race. So yeah, you very quickly see why the Supra, while being a very cool car in the Gen 3 setting, was not a very competitive car in JTC, and Toyota had pulled that out. Getting a reissue of the Toyota 2000 GT in a race trim, and this is going to be for the 1968 SCCA season. So this might be of interest to the U.S. builders out there. There are 2 driver names. I did not go through and actually check and see if any of them necessarily are real. I assume that they're real. Why would you create fake U.S. driver names? But there are 2 car numbers, 2 driver names for this 1966 SCCA season car. I believe this is going to get new metal knockoffs for the wheel for the wheel hubs. They're mentioned specifically. I think there are knockoffs in the kit already, but I think they're making these out of metal, so that's white metal or PE, what they're doing with that. I guess we'll find out in July, but yeah, that's going to be coming. And then lastly, we're going to get a significantly modified reissue of the Nissan Bluebird SSSR. You may recall this is the rally spec car that you could buy at the dealership that was like 1 minute away from going rally racing straight off the dealer lot. This is the later version of that, so this will incorporate a lot of the parts from the SSS kit that we're going to get this month. It has the new hoods and things like that, but this is still going to require a bunch of new pieces in terms of making the rally spec version. So you're going to get a new hood with the appropriate hood scoop. You're going to get new headrests. You're going to get there's just like 4 specific parts of that. Let me look here real quick. It's new headrest, new front bumper with fog lights, new wheels, and then new headrests. So you saw that pop up on screen, but I can't run these things sort of in the background. They're backdoor secret. They're edited in afterwards. But yeah, so those are the 4 parts on that. So those are the kit announcements from Hasegawa for, again, this summer. We'll see probably more in-depth build-ups of those next month at Shizuoka. And then we have the kit releases for this week. And so we will start with the domestic side of things. I believe this kit actually came out a week and a half ago. I meant to mention it and then I forgot. But it is a reissue from Revell of the Auto Transport trailer. Now, this did see a reissue in pretty much this same boxing. It's very hard to tell the difference between the two, especially since they run the same kit number between the 2 boxings, other than the fact, of course, that the reissue of it that came out about 6 years ago evaporated the instant it was on sale. I have one of those reissues from 2015, I think it was. And yeah, I had to buy one through a friend who happened to have a hobby shop that had one on the shelf, because my hobby shop got them in and then was gone in like 1 or 2 weeks. It was like a week, and then there was a show that weekend, and he was out and couldn't get any more. They did not make a whole heck of a lot of them that run, and yes, sold out very, very quickly. I don't know what the production numbers are on this, if it's being made with more quantity to it than the last one, but yes, it is back out there. So if you want to try pick one up, definitely I would suggest not waiting for it. It is a very period 1980s auto transport trailer, because this kit was made back in like 1983. But there's still a few of these style. You should put some mud flaps on it, because that's definitely not DOT or compliant the way it is. Although maybe in Europe it was, but not in the United States. But at any rate, it's very 1983. But there's still a few. You still see a few of these things running around like in privateers. This would have been a fleet car hauler back in the day when it was new. But this type of car, this style 5 car like this, would be something that you would see. Somebody moving around wrecked cars for the Copart auction, or the low budget car haulers that you can get on like eBay Motors and things like that. But so I said, it's something that theoretically could still be seen. You could mount it to almost anything new, so long, or the newer stuff like the newer Volvos that Italeri did, or the Mobius kits, things like that. So long as you ran it as, sort of again, keeping the idea that this is a very used trailer at that point. It's a very independent car hauler kind of thing. The kit itself is pretty nice. Just keep in mind that this is an open trailer, right? You can see through it. And that means that all the ejector pin marks are going to show up. This thing is a very nice molded kit on the outside, and then there are ejector pins everywhere on the inside. So you're probably going to, if you care, you're probably going to spend more time filling and or sanding ejector pin marks than you're actually going to build this thing. Just so you know that going in. So yeah, it's back out for anybody who's interested. It's a very cool kit. Again, kind of period. I'd love to see somebody do, a modern truck with a modern like 9-car Cottrell, but yeah, that would cost a whole hell of a lot of money, and it'd be very much a one-use tooling, because you couldn't really do much else with it. But my inner truck driver, if you wanted to please that builder, yeah, you'd totally throw you throw that type of deal out there. Overseas, we got a couple of releases from Aoshima, a couple of releases from Hasegawa. The Hasegawa kits are a couple of reissues with decals. So first up, you have the Lancia Stratos HF in the 1981 Tour de France livery. The Tour de France livery here. Now we're in April kits here, obviously. Was run by Team Chardonnay, and it is the 2nd place finisher for that race. So this should be, a fairly decent kit in terms of painting. You have to match the rims in terms of their orange, but I believe all the rest of the striping is included in the decals, and otherwise it's pretty much the same kit. It's a tarmac kit, so it's got the big fat tires and that rim set back in it. And then the other one is the Toyota Celica 1600 GT in the 1975 Macau Gear Race winner chicken dinner livery. So yes, this is the second version of their sort of Macau Celica series. I'd love to see them do all of them. They do have the overfender set for the later cars that ran in the 1978 season, 77 season races. Uh, cool set of decals. Very period decals. I do enjoy in that sense uh, these vintage cars and they're like, oh, I kind of sort of remember that company. Now, granted, these are Hong Kong based sponsors, but still, it's the old like Dunlop logos, the old Mobile logos, and stuff like that. So it's cool for that. And again, winner chicken dinner on the race livery there, so that's good to see. Oh wait, one more Hasegawa before we go to Aoshima. Then we have the release of this, which is the Volkswagen Type 2 microbus in the high grade series. So this is sort of what they've been doing with those kits with engines, except you get a full interior with this. This kit was last released in, I wrote this down, so we're 1999. You get a more detailed interior, which you get some resin pieces for that. Then there's a bunch of metal parts to do all like the tubing around the windows, and there's a bunch of PE included for the hinges and the door handles and stuff like that. You don't get an engine; it's still curbside. That part doesn't open, but the interior is again way more detailed than the normal curbside kit is. This runs, I think it's around $50 or $60, so it's basically twice the price of what this kit really runs for those interior pieces. And you will, again, have to be careful with assembly on this with these PE door hinges. I would almost say that you want to just be the way this kit displays with the doors open. Open and close those PE hinges a couple times, and they're going to snap in half more than likely. But yeah, if you want something a little bit different outside the normal, there's lots of these Type 2, kits floating around out there. Revell, of course, has theirs. But yeah, with a full interior like this would be that kit, as it were, in terms of specifically relating to that. So again, if it's something you're interested in, definitely check it out. Over at Aoshima, a couple more wheel sets, and I think these are this month's wheels. So you got the Mark 1 5 luggers here, and then you have the Star 5 luggers as well. I love the Bass Boat metallic on these over fenders, but yeah. So those two wheel sets come out, and of course the Aoshima wheel sets always come with tires, so those are in there. And then kit-wise, you get a reissue of the Nissan SEMA done into the Impol 731S format. So this would be sort of an Impol body kit, as well as would have been an Impol engine as well, because they were more of a motor. They're a race team, obviously. They still are a race team. Impol still exists. But yeah, they would have done a little bit of engine tuning to this, and then it would have had ground effects to it. Much like we talked about when this kit was originally reissued a few years ago, you do get like a stock SEMA body in here. So to put the body kit on, you do have to saw the front and back bumpers off of the body that comes with the kit to put these ones on. So no, there is some surgery going in. You get 3 sets of wheels, these BBS mesh set of Impols, and then the factory stock wheels, I believe, are in there as well. And yeah, there's a whole bunch of parts come with this, like a lot of these 90s Aoshima kits. There's a whole bunch of ground effects, one of those goofy satellite TV cellular antenna things is in here. It comes with all the parts, but specifically it's for this Impol kit, are the ones you're supposed to use. And it does have an engine insert in it, so you do get a little bit of engine flavor. It's not a whole engine by any stretch of the imagination, but it is something. It comes with a clear hood as a replacement for the one that, again, you'll have to saw out of the body, but at least it has a separate hood put back in. And then the other kit this week from Hasegawa is this reissue of the 1966 Nissan Silvia. This is a 2-in-1. You can build a factory stock. You can build it as a police car. This is one of the second, because technically the Mazda Cosmos came out a little sooner. This is one of the second specifically highway patrol type police cars. This was done up specifically for a new highway that was being built at the time, and these sort of two-door coupe pursuit vehicles. You know, I just, maybe I'm completely off base here, but just seems, especially in the 1960s, seems like the Japanese motoring public would have been a lot more polite to, you know, not need to be necessarily chased around that much. It's not like the United States where any day in California there's some wackaloon driving around on the sides of semis. But yeah, so that was, like I said, it's a very specific livery to the police car. This is an old iMake kit from 1975. So know that going in terms of the age and the type of construction you get out of the kit from that. But yeah, it's the only 66 Silvia there is. So if you want that era Silvia, it is the kit that you have to start with, at least in terms of building. I realized that I forgot to mention the motorcycles. I'm sitting here looking at these file photos. So lastly, on the way out the door, this, again, this year we're celebrating the 80th anniversary of Hasegawa in general. So big logo should be on some of the kits this year. And this one very specifically is the all-new tooling kit for the summer, and it is a Kawasaki KR250. I believe this is, what, 1980 as far as the year on this. But brand new kit all the way around, so that'll be 1/12 scale, I believe, as far as the scale on the kit. And yeah, so if you're into motorcycles, especially your 1980s sort of cafe racer style bikes, yeah, that is certainly an option for you this summer. I believe that's a July kit. So anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed it. See some stuff there you might be interested in terms of the summer, and we'll see you guys on the other side.